stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Behöver du en bil? Mabe hyrbilar finns på över 150 platser i landet och vi har nästan lika många modeller att välja på. Mabe hyrbilar. Hyrbilar som passar dig.
All right, everybody, and welcome into the Svenska eRacingligan Daytona 2.4 by Clutch Club Racing. My name is James, and with me in the booth I have Mr. David. Mr. David, how you feeling today about some LMP2 action?
Excited to see these cars give us a great show here, and excited to call it alongside with you.
Absolutely. It's going to be a blast. This is the championship round for these drivers as we get the paints and everything updated. I know I am excited to bring it to you all the way here in the United States. Let me go ahead and get it over to the Twitch stream as well. But while we're doing that, you guys are going to be watching qualifying here exclusively on the YouTube stream. But David, you know, we're running the Daytona 2.4. It's a blast. I know, especially with these LMP2s, what we've seen a lot throughout these guys' racing is we've seen a lot of just people pulling away, and those are the ones who end up making it to the end, is who can be consistent, stay out of that lap traffic once we get there, because 2.4 hours, that's a long race.
It is a long race, and with the endurance racing, trying to see what these drivers can do, should be a very exciting day to see how far man and machine can really push themselves for this long race.
Absolutely, especially with these LMP2s, it's not like you can get in a groove, but at the same time, you've got to be on it if you want to run the fastest you can over this long period of time. You got to be paying attention to what you're doing, make sure you're not making those mistakes over and over and over again, because you're not going to have a lot of time to get back on it. As Michael Hafladison there in that first position, just showing us what he can do with a 1:35.17. Now, David, were you able to drive in the 24 this year?
I was not able to get into the 24 this year, but had some great times practicing for it, know the track well. Of course, talking with the whole team over at SRM, we had some great time practicing up for it.
Absolutely. I know we almost pulled the trigger and almost got in there, but unable to do that. But no worries there. So Hafladison's still running. You'll see very little tire fall for these things. They are built for this long endurance racing. Jesper Eriksson currently in that second position. Daniel Blomqvist there in third. Philip Axon and Alexander Olsen rounding out your top five. As we get going here. See 135s, 136s, 137s. Those seconds don't seem like a lot right now, but over the course of about 50 laps here for these drivers, that's definitely going to play a factor. So you got to work on your production, got to work on everything you're doing here, especially with these teams. These teams are battling for points as well. As we take a look at some of the points system for the Swedish iRacing League, those that are not used to it. 150 points in that first place, 135 for second. Third is going to get 125 points. So these guys really got to get that top position to really make a difference. But qualifying is also worth some extra points. Qualify first, like Jesper Eriksson just did. You're looking at 7 bonus points. Second, 5. And then third is going to be 3, 2, 1 for third through fifth. As we are seeing if anybody is on the track. I think, there we go, Vladi Johannesson. Right now trying to work it out. So, David, tell me just a little bit about what you expect to see here over the long run, and just kind of talk at me for a moment.
So with these cars and this track, I expect to see drivers kind of taking it easy here at the start of the race, getting a real feel for the track and the other drivers around them. Of course, with it being such a long race, I then expect things to start picking up as we start winding that time down. And as we get towards the end of the race here, I think we're going to see those drivers really start to test those limits that they've kind of found through the early sessions of the race and making their way out there, trying to push the car to the absolute limit as they make their way towards the end of this feature. And I think we will have several cars just based on qualifying times and things we're seeing here, several cars competing for that win.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to step away here just for one moment to get the stream up over on the Swedish iRacing League Twitch. You can watch us over there as well if you want to talk in Swedish with all your homies. That's one way to do it, and we'll be right back. All right, we are back here as we have the grid set for this race. This is going to be the full feature. Let's take a look at our qualifying results and our grid right now. Jesper Eriksson there in that one position. Michael Hofladsen in second. Second row is going to be Daniel Blomqvist and Philip Axelsen. Then we have Alexander Olsen and Daniel Homer. Linus Brostrom and Marcus Hagman going to be row number 4, as then we have... Calm down, girl. There we go. Row 5, Jonas Schonjenberg, Lucas Homer in there in 10th. Row 6 going to be Victor Hammerstrom and Philip Bjork. Then we have Christopher Dahlström, Hagen Schott in row number 7. Row number 8 going to be Vladi Johannesson and Pontus Nordgren. Then we have Sebastian Magnussen and Bjorn Brostrom. Marcus Stiller and Kenneth Tier are going to round out the rest of the field as they are in that Clutch Club Racing. Brought to you, this race is of course brought to you by Clutch Club Racing. Those drivers coming together to sponsor this race, and we appreciate them. So he's going to hang back as that pace truck driving him around the famous Daytona front stretch. We're going to have it out for us as Flesh Driver said he was going to win. As here we go, Jesper Eriksson going to have the button green flag, going to be coming out shortly here at the Clutch Club Racing 2.4. Off to the races in turn number 1. Jesper Eriksson getting up there. Bloomquist trying to make it around there as well, as we have a lot of calamity, but everybody keeping it straight through the famous turn number 1 as they're bumping for 5th right now. Linus Brostrom and Marcus Hadman as we come in to turns number 2 and 3. Throughout the course, we're going to see it. The battle's already starting here at the 2.4 as we have side-by-side racing between Lucas Holmgren and Marcus Hagman. Trying to get every position they can right now for those that may have qualified a little bit farther back than they hoped to. As right now, this is your best opportunity to pass now when everybody's slow on those cold tires, because every second that you take to try and get up to the front, Jesper Eriksson's going to keep on gapping you out.
Still having an issue.
Ready. As Esper gonna get going, Alexander Olsen battling for 5th, battle inside the top 10. Those bright esports light blue machines, keep an eye on them. They are going to be moving through the field, always finishing pretty well, but also on the downside of that, they're also always battling each other. They have to work hard against each other to try and make something happen there as they're separated. Linus Brostrom, or Homer, is celebrated by Axelsen, who's had a really good run this season. Farther back, Dahlström in that 80 machine, looking at Vladi Johannesson. As overall, throughout the field, these guys are just going to have to settle in, find their rhythm, and get rocking. Just 2 minutes down here. 2.24 hour race today, boys and girls. If you're watching over on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button. Show us you like what you see. The reason we do that is it gives the drivers and these sponsors a little bit more screen time, because that tells the YouTube algorithm that people are watching and liking what they see, and that's what we're here for. We want that, want them to know that they have somewhere to go. We're going to listen in to these cars as they get started after the battle, teammates battling here. We're going to keep an eye on it, turn it up. We are back here. Appreciate the turn it up and the sights and sounds of the track. If you were there right now, that's what you would have been hearing here. 5 minutes down. And I tell you, this race has only started, David.
It is, but these drivers doing what they can, finding some spots, settling in a little bit here, but make no mistake about it, when they get the opportunity, they have taken the advantage and found positions where they can get them.
Absolutely, they have, and that's what is the kind of thing that these drivers are looking for right now. Daniel Homer working on Philip Axelson in that 019. These battles and what we're going to see. Do you do a lot of road racing?
I am not much of a road racer, but I understand that unlike oval, it really, really comes down to setting everything up so many turns ahead, just making sure you're in the right spot at the right time when that driver in front of you makes a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. You're setting them up, right? You're every race that these guys are going to be going through, every turn they're learning, and they're going to have to figure out when they want to make their move, when they want to get in and get in that quarter panel and try and get by. Especially here, it's a very, very hard track to pass on because it is rights and then lefts. You have to set your passes up where you are fastest and where your car is going to work the best. And that's where a lot of these people kind of falter a little bit, is waiting for that opportunity. And that's what we're going to see here.
Just trying to find that right time. You're seeing it right now, as you said, getting set up as we're heading down the straightaway here, getting into what should be a little bit of a chicane, seeing if we can take advantage of that inside or outside. Doesn't look like Axelson's quite going to get it done this time, but lots of time to go, plenty of time. sort of seeking it out and kind of finding his way right now.
Absolutely.
All right, keeping an eye on these drivers as they head towards the front trio here. We have the 71 on the outside coming around, making a big move, going for 2 spots as we head down in here into turn 1 and back into the infield. These drivers absolutely coming to life here at this section of the track right now with these passes on the inside of the track here at Daytona as we come down into the straightaway and then back again into a tighter turn. These drivers are going to keep finding themselves inside, outside until we get back around to the straightaway where these drivers can open these cars up just a little bit more and start running away with it. As we see Axelson losing a position there. Not sure if he's going to be able to get that back as we're almost back onto the oval here where he's going to get that high-speed run heading back down towards that back chicane. Drivers lining up, getting that nice draft in this high-speed section of the track. Looking back down into the breaks of the chicane, looks like Axelson might be another spot here just to keep it straight and get good speed through the chicane there as we head into the turns 3 and 4 of the oval. Another high-speed section here coming up all the way around to the front straightaway before we get slowed back down for that infield section.
Absolutely. These drivers, they know it's this early on. They know that it's not the time to mess yourself up as we see a little bit of a 3-way battle here, 4-way. Hagman, Holmgren, and Bjork all working together, or all running together, I should say. They're in that mid-pack. A little bit of talking on the radio, trying to tell everybody where they are.
Drivers getting comfortable with each other, finding who they can work with, finding what kind of speed, what kind of pace are they happy running with each other right now. Just trying to keep it all sorted out as there's still such a long way to go in this race, but taking those positions where they can find them, and of course, all give and take. You know, maybe you have some dirty air on your car and you're looking for somebody to get in front of you, get a little bit of a different feel in the car, see what changes.
Absolutely. What's going to change? Where is your car the fastest? We are running in segments here. So in road courses, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different than what people may be used to, where it really just, you got to get in, make sure you are fast where you are fast. So if your section 1 is a lot faster than somebody else's, hey, that might be your time to wait. You know, make sure your crew chief's telling you what you're doing, and then going and taking that opportunity on that section to then get around them, and then maybe it'll be a little bit harder for them to get around you in that same kind of way.
Right, finding those advantages where you can get them, and then of course, as you mentioned with the segmented timing, maybe you know that you're faster than a guy in a certain section, so you're going to try to set them up a little bit beforehand in that section that you're bad at, and then try to get that run and take full advantage of your faster time when you do get to that good section that you know you're so much better in.
Exactly. And it's overseeing Marcus Hagman now. Still this group. Up front, Jesper Ericsson's still all but gone right now. Nothing that he has to worry about. In that way. Still right here. As the Swedish iRacing League, they come in, they do a lot of fun stuff, guys. They switch off every week. You'll see their NASCAR series. They do cup cars and a little bit of that racing. You know, they found out that they wanted to get that over to that east side of the world there to in Sweden and spread that NASCAR influence, and they've done a fantastic job as well. But they also want to stick to their roots and do a little road course racing. That's what we're seeing here in the LMP2 side of things. They were actually going to run the fabled Dallara, but because of their issues with motorsports games and NASCAR, or not NASCAR, and iRacing, that car, we actually unfortunately could not broadcast it. So because of that, that's why they went over to this separate machine, the LMP2. And I tell you, the LMP2 has been pretty hard to handle. I mean, it's the Indy cars are fun, but these LMP2s are a whole nother beast as far as power and downforce is concerned.
And of course, going from one to the other, you have an open wheel platform compared to these LMP2s, and it's just a whole different feel, right? The air flows differently, the car handles differently, everything changes with these drivers putting on an absolutely wonderful show, regardless of what vehicle they're in. It seems like they are great in anything that they go to and really just put on a great show week to week.
Yeah, absolutely. They put on a great show because they're just so responsive, and you're really able to get these cars turned around, as we've been focused on Hagman for a little bit there, and now Homer, and just because of how close they are, and we were set up for battles at this point. As that's what you see here, these battles is, oh, Philip Axelson under attack by Marcus Hagman. Marcus going to get around him right at that spot. That's a really good spot to pass, is right on that front stretch. When you have the advantage to get around and do that, it can definitely work into your favor there. As what are you seeing as far as the best place to pass for some of these drivers, and where they're really looking to use all that fuel?
These drivers seem to be making most of their moves either early on in that low speed section in the infield, or as we come back out to the oval and we get into that high speed section, chasing them down either right before or right after that chicane. Doesn't seem to be a whole lot of movement that I've seen lately with those drivers really attacking during those super high speed sections. Everybody wants to kind of drop into that draft, get every advantage they can, but pushing those braking zones and then accelerating away out of the turns, I think that's where we're really going to see these passes for positions and drivers taking full advantage of the car underneath them.
Absolutely. As we just check through the field right now, Jesper Eriksson still in that one spot. He took it at the beginning and he's had it the whole time, just now trying to be consistent. Michael Hofladison, AM Racing Team, having a good race this race. And then Alexander Olsen with Bride Esports, that light baby blue machine, looking good. He's up 2 positions with his teammate Daniel Homer. Daniel Blomqvist there, as you'll see, 2 headlights. Two sets of headlights, I'm sorry, there in the background. Philip Axelson and Marcus Hagman. These guys still haven't figured out their battle. Philip York and Lucas Holmgren in 9th. And we have Linus Brostrom in 10th with Jonas Schlaumberg there in 11th. Hagen Schott in 12th. Bride Esports by picked last. That's funny. Sebastian Magnussen there. As the Flatty Johnson has gone off track, letting folks by. Then we have Pontus Nordgren. He's up 2 positions. Christopher Dahlstrom and Victor Hammerstrom having a hard time getting this thing going. He's down 5 positions so far. Marcus Stiller in 17th. Flatty Johannesson, we talked about him. Kenneth Tier, independent racer, in that 19 machine, in that 49 machine, currently sitting 19th with Bjorn right there behind him. So Philip Axelson still under attack by Marcus Hagman. We'll keep an eye on this battle as we get through here and see where these guys are going to go. They're all working together, and this is a track where you can kind of get a little bit of a draft, get something going. over time, but you're not going to see the massive drafting as far as you would see in a NASCAR race. But, you know, it's still there, still a possibility to come in and make something happen here.
As I mentioned earlier, drivers just taking advantage of everything that they can. The draft, the braking zones, the slow areas, just any little thing you can do to get an edge. That's what it's really going to come down to over the course of this long race. Getting those positions, of course, finding where you're comfortable, but then learning how to make other drivers just that little bit more uncomfortable to gain that crucial time right where you need it.
Yeah, and that's what it is, right? You apply that pressure as best you can, and then hopefully the pressure gets to them and they make little mistakes. That's the only way you're going to be passing really on these tracks, is force the guy in front of you to make mistakes. As Bjorn Brostrom has went off course there a little bit with that 41 machine. I got to focus on it, but just to see a little bit about what happened there. Got around on him, luckily kept out of the wall. But that's something about these drivers that people tend to forget. These are not road course ringers necessarily, not all of them. A lot of these guys join this league to run that initial cup race that they have, and now they come out here to fill the field a little bit, and we appreciate them for that. So if you see somebody around a lot, don't worry about it. That's exactly what I would do. As Marcus Hagman's now going to come down pit road after 20 minutes, see what's going on with this car. Maybe a little bit of strategery here.
Absolutely. It could be a little bit of strategy, you know, playing the race a little backwards, trying to make those stops and calculate all the fuel out exactly how you need it. Or maybe he just wanted some fresh tires on the car, make it feel a little different, get some better feeling back in that car there.
Absolutely. These guys, Mark is coming down pit road, and I know he was in that close battle, and that's another thing that some of these drivers, this isn't like NASCAR where you'll hear me harken a lot back to that type of racing. It's just because what I'm so used to. But this isn't like normal racing that you would usually see on the oval, where if you're in last place, you know, you're always in it. You know, you can always come in the back of one of these things. No, this is road course racing. This is really based on that skill up to a lot more than what we're used to. So we saw Marcus Hagman come in there possibly because he was battling with about 4 drivers, Axelson, Bjork, and Brostrom. That's really all he cares about racing at this point. So if he comes in and gets those positions, that's why it's so important, is I'm going to be hunting down these points for you guys while we're sitting around. And David, take it away.
As you mentioned, you know, those positions and the pit stops in oval racing, it's so hard to come down pit road and potentially lose those positions. That's so hard to gain that time back. In road course racing, taking that early or light advantage, new tires versus old tires, there's a lot of time to be made, especially if you know that you can run good, consistent, fast laps on those new tires and you really expect those other drivers to stay out. Go in, take that pit, take a different strategy. There is so much time left in this race. I think it's a great call. Getting that car underneath you, getting comfortable with it, and really finding out what you can do and push early on could be a great strategy for later. He now knows, hey, I can get in, I can get this pit stop. This is exactly what that car is going to feel like a little bit later when I make that same strategy call again.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got time, right? You got a ton of time to do it throughout this 2.5 hour race. Take a look here at the points and get those up to date for you guys. But yeah, you got a lot of time. Time is not really an issue here, as Hafladison Hafladsen actually came into this thing the points leader with Daniel Holmer in second, and I'll get these ready for you. I'll get these things up and going and show you about where we are at the points. Bright Esports, however, has the most total points as far as that's concerned, but I'll get these up while David talks to you guys for a second.
These drivers continuing to turn their laps, take their time. We are seeing a couple battles for position here and there, but drivers mainly just kind of happy to be where they're at right now. Those close battles making their way around the interior of the track. Just keep an eye on those braking zones. Drivers finding every advantage that they can get, every little push or every little run off the turn gives each driver a new opportunity to set themselves up for the next 3 corners, let's say. And then, of course, with those twists and turns, giving just a new view to that driver, either in front or behind, of how am I going to defend or how am I really going to attack this driver in front of me. Drivers making their way off of pit road, rejoining right behind Hagman here, keeping an eye there and watching these drivers as they make their way back to the high-speed section and using each other for draft. Again, all about setting it up, finding where you're comfortable, and then, of course, taking advantage of those possibly slightly newer tires to get every run that they can as they look towards the backstretch here, heading down towards the chicane. Back around through the front stretch here and down into the infield. Looks like those drivers that were on pit road last time have managed to keep the pace right here behind Hagman, and he's made his way all the way up to 5th as we currently run. Keeping an eye on the positioning, the timing, see where he shakes out with that earlier pit stop. Might find himself well up here towards the front of the field, leading the way potentially and a couple of laps as things shake out. Drivers again just taking their time, feeling each other out as lining up nose to tail in these fast sections, setting everybody up as we come back around, and we're getting towards the trioval here from what I'm seeing. Slowing down into the braking zones, taking every little moment, every little second advantage that they can get, just looking for those spots, looking for those times. Each sector as it comes down to each segment. You can see a little bit of lockup there by Hagman. Just taking advantage of those opportunities, especially as these drivers behind are looking for those positions.
Absolutely, and what we saw, we talked about Hagman going in a little bit early here, and what did it do for him? We got him a couple positions, came in about 2 or 3 laps before everybody else, was able to come down and have a lot of good spots there. I tell you, Ericsson's not worried about it at all. but I did get the points up and open for you guys. Let's get it up here for you. As there we go, Michael Vladison with 602 points. Right now, Daniel Holmer, 580. Alexander Olsen, that 560. I tell you, it's close. It's definitely going to be close once we get everything finished out, and these drivers are able to kind of use these points, as we talked about earlier. 150 points, 15 points more if you're able to win. So if this thing ends up going the way it is, Daniel Holmer, who right now is there in third, he's got to get past the Vladison, and he's got to do it really quickly, because Vladison also got those bonus points, not to mention. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now, that battle, kind of the race within a race, why these guys do what they do week in, week out, what keeps them coming. And that's what it is. You got to get those points, got to get everything, got to have a reason to keep doing it every day, and that's kind of what we're seeing. Is Vladison has came in and been very consistent. 1 pole, 1 win. Not even the most wins. Jesper Eriksson has the most wins, but because he hasn't raced as much here, he's pretty far back on the points there in 16th. But Vladison definitely took the lead last week after the Road Atlanta course, or a couple weeks ago, and now just has not looked back and came in and really had a strong season.
Taking advantage of all those points that you can gain in a race, and really just consistency over time, right? Getting those good finishes, maybe not wins all the time, but taking advantage of the finishing positions, making sure that you're in the right spot come the end of the race. That is what is going to get you to the position he's in now, being up there in contention, finding a way to fight for more points, and of course, come the end of the season, the championship run, right?
Absolutely. As we see this battle, 3-way battle for 5th. Linus Broström has it. The rest of them want it as they are getting close action. They're getting pushed there. Marcus Hagman gets sent by Daniel Bloomquist. He is not going to like that.
Just some close battling, some brakes locking up, and not 100% sure what happened there between the drivers, but certainly Hagman being on the receiving end of some poor luck and some bad brakes. It looked like both drivers locked him up going into that turn there.
Yeah, just close racing, and maybe a little bit too close. Unfortunately, some damage. That 12 machine, a little bit of bump there. Hagman going to rejoin behind Lucas Holmgren there in 8th position. We're going to go ahead and run to an ad break right now. We'll be right back. You can stick around. We're going to be side by side.
Behöver du en bil? Mabe hyrbilar finns på över 150 platser i landet och vi har nästan lika många modeller att välja på. Mabe hyrbilar. Hyrbilar som passar dig.
And we are back here racing side-by-side action. Daniel Bloomquist and Philip Axelson working down the front stretch in front of the fans there. You like to see that as they're getting a little bit of action after they've got their hot dogs and hamburgers, and now they're coming back to some exciting racing on the Daytona Road Course. Of course, we're brought to you by Clutch Club Racing, and as well AMRT.SE, your racing seats. If you want them, there you have them. You can go get you one of these nice Swedish iRacing seats. I know it's hard to get things over in Europe for iRacing, but if you're in the hobby, check them out. As well as some Area 81 digital media. Check them out as well. As Linus Brostrom has been able to really hold off the onslaught from Daniel Bloomquist. So you look back at Hagman, he's worked his way up a little bit from his issue. Let's take a look at one of his passes. No, he is not. He stayed about where he was, but still working forward there. As we're going to be watching Daniel Bloomquist just try and make this run. This is the only thing on top of it.
Of course, as you mentioned, the only thing really on top of it right now, have a big feeling, just really big feeling that these drivers are settling in, finding the opportunities where they can get them. But if nobody's nearby, hey, let's turn some laps, let's save some tires. Let's try to get this and run as long as we can so we can save some fuel, save some tire for some later pit stops.
Absolutely, and these are really important machines, and with the fuel you can choose how much fuel you want to use. It's not just the one size fits all. You don't know exactly how many laps on it. No, these guys have to plan for that. They have to plan whether they're attacking or defending, what type of fuel consistently they want to use. They can change that in the car, and that's why it's so interesting to see these cars run on the different strategies, because you can save a little bit more fuel, or you go all out. It really just depends on what you want to do as a driver and what kind of pit strategy you want to take. And that's what we saw with Hagman, as Hagman came in a little bit earlier, and it really was working for him, believe it or not, until he got sent by Bloomquist. And now Bloomquist working on another car, trying not to get those incents anymore, because he knows he's going to have to talk to the stewards after this one. Does not want something to happen again as they get past the lap car. That's the 49 of Kenneth Tier.
As you mentioned, so many options for these drivers. Not only are they thinking about all the strategies they need when it comes to pit stop, those adjustments you were talking about in the car. Do I want to really push and have that high fuel map running on my car for multiple laps? And then, of course, everything that goes along with running faster, burning a little bit more tire, burning a little bit more rubber. And then you have the brake adjustments. Do I want to take some chances and maybe dial back my brakes a little bit, front to rear, and really try to find where the balance of the car is going to suit me best for the situation I'm in right now?
Absolutely. And that's kind of what we're seeing here with this battle. Is we'll take a look. Let's take a look on board with Jesper Eriksson and kind of go in the cockpit and see what he's seeing here.
Watching as he beautifully navigates through the infield here, really just taking care of those tires, using that edge to help slow him down by the looks of it. Does look like he gets a little loose there, but just really working the car to his advantage, taking advantage of everything the car has to offer, using the gearing, probably adjusting some of those settings on the fly as he needs to, but really just trying to run as smoothly as he can, putting down some fast times, and of course just maintaining where he's at. No real worries behind him or in front of him right now, so just setting that car to cruise.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at all of the stuff they have to work with and all the options they have in that car to change things. Again, folks, be sure and reach out on social media. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and we have a Twitter account, as you see that sun going down there in Daytona. Also, hit us up in the chat. Let us know who your favorite driver is, what you think, who you think's gonna not win, because we have a pretty good guess who's gonna win, barring some crazy lap traffic. But tell us who you think is gonna have an opportunity to really surprise us here with a good run, and we'll be sure and focus on those people. We got a long race, folks. We're about a third of the way done. So be sure and hit us up with that information so we can get you guys some more action throughout the field. Otherwise, we're just going to put it on these excitings and might watch the same couple cars around, but we'll try and make it as interesting as we can. You can help out. Hit us up in the chat. So this battle's still underway between Daniel Bloomquist and Linus Brostrom. Unable, no one really, it's wild that they're able to keep doing this the way that they are, because it's just so close. So much is going on here. We do have a little bit of an incident happened on lap 20. That was a while back, but let's take a look. Jonas Schulberg got into a little bit of an incident here going into turn number 1. Luckily able to keep it out of the wall for the most part. A little bit of bump into those tires, not going to hurt anything. But that's what the leaders have to be really careful of, is whenever that happens, if it happens in front of the leaders, I mean, that's a bad way to ruin your race.
Drivers just have to be mindful, and with such a long race, just remembering those braking zones, especially as tires start to wear out on the longer runs before those pit stops, you're going to have to back it up a little bit. Potentially just some minor brain miscalculations there, you know, oh, I forgot to hit my brakes at this point, and it affects everything later on in the turn, but doesn't look like it had too big of an effect on him there. Car still looked good and everything going the right way, of course, after that incident. So just things to keep in mind. And of course, with such a long race, keeping those in the back of your mind, especially when you're up close to another driver, you know the leader's coming up behind you, is really important.
Absolutely, and that's the big thing. Is keeping that consistency and working on it. Daniel trying right now to just apply the pressure, and unfortunately there's just really nothing he can do. Not shaking Linus at all here.
And I've watched them. It seems like in the infield there is just that little bit of a shortening of that gap. But as they get back out to this high speed section of the track and start running around the oval again, it seems like they widen back out just enough. Not 100% sure what the differences in sector times are, but I have a feeling if you took a look, that that first sector there in the infield is probably just a little bit quicker. And then as you come back out to this quick section in the chicane, the advantage shifts the other way. So just things to keep in mind, like we were talking about earlier, taking advantage and trying to set cars up as you can when you have that advantage and you know that you're just that little bit faster than the driver in front of you or behind you.
Absolutely. So folks, right now we're going to go ahead and run to a Turn It Up segment. You're going to be hearing a little bit of just a lot of action on the track, and we'll be right back. right, we are back. Linus Brostrom still able to hold off that 5th position, but I tell you what, Marcus Hagman came down pit road again a little bit earlier than everybody else. Or I'm sorry, no, he's about did. Almost caught some folks. Sebastian Magnussen went off track. That happened in 10th. Let's see what happened. Looks like a tiny hiccup there, nothing crazy. Still registered as off track.
A little wild into turn 1 by the looks of it. Got a little wide, got it woed up, and was able to keep it straight, keep it going. So not a big mistake there, just little things happening here and there that the driver has to keep in the back of their mind, especially with the sun now setting just a little bit more. Track's going to start to cool off and maybe change the dynamic of the race car just a little bit.
Absolutely, and we're going to get those beautiful headlight shots that we love seeing so much. It's 52 minutes down, almost at the halfway point. As Linus here with 4C Sports holding off. 401 run through your top 10 very slowly. Again, if you're in the YouTube chat, make sure you hit that like button and shout out your driver. That only works in the YouTube. So if you're over there on the Twitch, I can't see you. So be sure and check out the Twitch. Give that Svenska eRacingligan your nice free subscribe there, or your free follow. But make sure then you come over to our YouTube channel and chat with us. Keep us up to date on who you're cheering for and who you want to see some more of. That way we can help you out there. As it looks like Daniel's finally going to make his move on Linus. Works to the outside here, coming into the hard lefts. Makes the pass before completing the midway through the infield there. So that has what was that? That was not a pass. Linus able to hold him off on the outside. Bloomquist reeling right now, still unable to complete that pass.
Just having an absolutely great run in through that infield section. Getting side by side there, but not able to quite get it done. Being the narrowest part of the track there, it's also the hardest spot to try to make those passes, but you take what you can get anywhere you can get it, and I feel like that is where you are going to make up the most time, as we've been watching these drivers for a while now. Just going back and forth, that infield section seems like that is where they are the closest, and I think ultimately that's where we're going to have to see this pass happen if it does happen on track.
Absolutely. As some talking going on, some strategy. I feel like we're about to see some people down pit road. There we go. Linus Brostrom going down pit road currently. He's going to get that car serviced and fall back a little bit. A little bit of a second fall off right now between the best times and the last time. Kind of an abrasive surface here. That's not a lot when you're talking about these drivers, but like I said earlier, if you're in a battle with just 1 or 2 people, this may help you out to come in and get an edge over those folks that you're battling. Of course, that's what Linus is going to be doing here. So he's exiting pit road right now. Spending 1 minute and 18 seconds down there, so you don't want to try and do that too much. That's a lot of time on the track, almost a whole lap, not quite, but still almost there.
Of course, again, talking strategy, getting that whole 1.5 minutes of service work done, making that car feel better, putting some new tires on it, getting that fuel that you want for the next run, getting everything set up so that you can try to get that advantage that you want over that driver you might have just been battling with, knowing that shortly they're going to have to come down pit road and make the same call. So you're trying to get those seconds, those advantages that you can get while you can get them. And then, of course, get back on track and focus on what you need to do, race the track in front of you so that you have that fight later on in the race as we're pushing towards the end here.
Absolutely. This is Jesper right now. 6-second gap back to Flottison. That's not insurmountable. It only is going to take one little incident for that to go sideways. That's generally what we see with these things, though, is if you're able to pull out that far, usually you're not going to have too many issues. Now Flottison doing everything he can. Homer up 3 positions. He's made his way up. That's a Flotty Johannesson. Went off track a little bit ago. Let's take a look at that. Ooh, just gets a little squirrely off of turn number 2. That'll get you.
A little bit too much throttle too early, but you know, again, put notes in the back of those drivers. They're gonna see that, keep an eye on that, and then mark it down for later. Gotta wait just a little bit longer now on throttle. With the track temps cooling down, kind of changing the dynamic of that turn, you're gonna see other drivers take note of that and make adjustments accordingly so that they don't do the same thing.
Oh, absolutely. So we're just going to sit back and enjoy watching some race. And again, we're checking that chat. Make sure you're posting if you want to see something. But right now, we're just going to sit back and watch some good stuff. Watch some good racing. Well, it looks like the Bright Esports drivers have found themselves, Holmer and Olsen. And Linus has taken advantage of his short pit to get by Daniel Bloomquist again. Overall, that's looking like quite the short pit strategy definitely paying off, but we'll see if he's going to have to pit again here. But it looks like every 30 minutes or so, these drivers are coming down pit road. And I think that is what's going to see if you think you can stretch this out and maybe eliminate one of those stops. Do you think that's a possibility here, David?
As you said, it's looking like they're running about 30 minutes right now. I know what I do when I run a road course race is I try to, especially under what would be green flag conditions, make those stops with a little bit of extra wiggle room. So we might be able to see these drivers run a few more laps than what they're showing us right now. And I think as we come down towards the end of the race, we're really going to see a driver stretch it. But 35 minutes might be about the max that you're going to get out of one of these fuel tanks, depending on how much they can really cram in there and how much they can save on a long run.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of what I think as well. I think these guys are going to be looking for the short pit, but kind of, you're going to have to do it anyway. You might as well come in and get a little bit of spots as you do. As again, let's go ahead and show the points about where everyone's at. Of course, we'll go ahead and show this as well, so you can see how they kind of transfer over. Ericsson, of course, he's won a lot of races this season already, and that's what the importance of just showing up is Hafladison having only one win. He's up there. Holmer as well. Olsen, Melvin Kesson, Linus Brostrom, and that's what Linus is really fighting for right now, is those around him to be able to maybe get another spot here, as Kesson not in this race. So that's a spot, but looks like Olsen, Holmer, and Hafladison, the top three, are in second through fourth respectively there. As Hagman going to get by the lap car of Bjorn Brostrom. And a little bit farther down here, Dahlstrid, Nordgren, Holmeren. So a lot of these drivers just trying to really just do the best they can right now. And as the championship wears on, Hafladison's got to be feeling really good about where he sits right now. Of course, he's got the, it may be out of reach. Something's really bad is going to happen to Holstrom here, or I'm sorry, Hafladison, to lose out on this lead, because he did get the bonus points for being in second place during qualifying. 5 bonus points there. Holmer only got no bonus points. So qualifying very important.
Taking advantage of those points where you can get them. Also running an extremely good race today. Up there finding himself in second place, earning as much as he can with those points, with just running smooth, consistent laps. That's what it's all about. You don't have to be the guy who finishes first, but having that great finish is certainly going to boost you in the points standing nonetheless.
Absolutely. And that's going to be the key. So if you are watching around, we're going to go ahead. We are coming up on the first hour of this race. Long race, a lot of racing action. We're going to step away for a moment. We'll be right back.
Behöver du en bil? Mab hyrbilar finns på över 150 platser i landet och vi har nästan lika många modeller att välja på. Mab hyrbilar. Hyrbilar som passar dig.
Let's take a look at Michael Vlasen working by some lap traffic right now. Overall, everybody's staying pretty out of each other's hair, letting everybody go. Daniel Holmer has some work to do, 5 seconds back just because of that pit stop. Seems like two or three laps on these pit stops is enough to really give you a big gap coming out of here. As we take a look through some of the events that have happened today, let's look at lap 41, Victor Hammerstrom. A lot of our incidents have been single car incidents. Schomburg, same deal. Just that turn 2, very hard to make something happen. Let's take a look at our green flag run. See what kind of happened here at the green flag. These guys got started. This is the green flag at the race about an hour ago. A treacherous turn 1. Then the big incident of the day happened with, let me get there, Hagman. This was on lap number 19. Daniel Bloomquist gets into the back of that 12 machine, locks him up. And of course, when it hits that grass, you're going straight no matter which way you have the wheel turned. Just a little bit about what's been happening on the track right now. Everyone, you can see that gap on the left-hand side of your screen where everybody's at in relation to that leader there of Jesper Eriksson. They are just all settled in and all spread out. So is there anything special you're seeing up here that you want to talk about?
Keeping an eye on these drivers. I think we're going to start seeing them kind of try to find that strategy. You know, you said we're halfway through here. I think that puts us at about 2 to 3, two for sure pit stops on the home stretch here, as we'll call it. Watching these drivers maybe try to take advantage from what they've seen earlier on with these other pit stops that they've already made. Taking that undercut, as you said, the advantage around 3 to 4 laps seems to be what gives you a good jump, gets you out to a couple of seconds. Maybe some drivers will take advantage of that, try to get up close to their competitor in front of them, and try to take advantage of those fresh tires after coming out of the pits.
Yeah, absolutely. As we take a look, show you guys kind of the last time versus the best time. A lot of information on that timing screen, but it'll tell you just how far that fall off is. See that 41, that is a lap car in front of Christopher Dahlstrud. Norm Brostrom is working on, but yeah, that lap, those where everybody is kind of shuffled out after all that really matters. Let's take a look. Let's see how many times. Tell you what, Eriksson has a 31X, so he is finding a little bit of extra space somewhere on this track that he's not supposed to be finding. According to iRacing, not according to the rules of this league, but still nonetheless. Let's take a look at the number of stops. It looks like everybody is on a 2-stop, except for Pontus Nordgren, who came down pit road 3 times. Kent here. Jump to the front there. If you're interested in joining this league, guys, they race every Thursday about 2 p.m. Eastern. They are worth a look. Come in, they do have, you can see their cup stuff. Every other week they alternate between road course and cup stuff. 2 different points, 2 different series, and one awesome league brought to you, of course, by AMRT.se, maybe. And this race is specifically brought to you by Clutch Club Racing, so we appreciate those folks over at Clutch Club for sponsoring this race. You see the track map up there, seeing where everyone is at in relation to each other. Keep that up for you guys. As you see, a lot of information on the screen, but it's all good. It's all worth it.
as I mentioned, drivers on this downhill run towards the end, looking like we have around that hour-ish mark left where I think drivers are going to be able to make it on those 2 stops. It'll be interesting to see. These drivers have been out here for a little bit now on this stop. Interesting to see how far they're going to push it to try to set up that second to last stop, and then of course the last stop as they get down towards the end of the race here. There on screen, as you just saw, Hammarstrom taking advantage and getting that position away as he headed into this infield section. We'll see if there's any fight back from behind. Looks like he is able to get a little bit of an advantage here in the infield section, though, and start pulling away.
As we step back in here, Hakan Schott now and Bjorn Bergens Brostrom. A little bit close to each other. I can tell you though, from looking at it, Jesper Eriksson and Michael Hafladsen have gotten a little bit closer, as Hafladsen did do that underpit, came in lap 36. About time to do it again. Seems like Eriksson really trying to stretch that out, but if Hafladsen could get it there. I don't know how much smoke he wants though, David, because he's already leading the points and where he needs to be to win.
And closing that gap down already. We saw it as much as 7 to 8 seconds earlier in this race. Now down to about 3. As you mentioned though, how aggressive are you really going to get, knowing you're already having a great points day in second spot? Of course, everybody wants to get the checkered flag, but you got to keep those points implications in the back of your mind, seeing how well those other drivers are doing. We'll have to see how it shakes out, and if he decides to take that underpit here yet again and try to gain some time, some positions off the track, as you would say, on pit road, and see what he can do to close up to the leader of Jesper.
Exactly, and I know we talked about it earlier, but we've barely touched on it. Folks, this is the championship race. So every little bit matters here as Hammerstrom gets into the wall. He's going to lose a couple of positions there. But the championship race, Hafladsen trying to really put it in the bag here. Show you about where we're at. Of course, Hafladsen coming up on some lap traffic. Only a gap between him and the leader. He can see that 37 right now at the front windshield. Time to push, time to go. How much is he gonna mess with Eriksson here as he comes in to the final 45 minutes of this race? As Eriksson went off track. Eriksson went off track. Let's take a look at the replay. That was the 41. Just came up on him way too quick. That's what gave put Michael Hafladsen in spitting distance. He can now see out the windshield that leader, and I tell you what, the slingshot is engaged right now. He's in the draft.
Taking advantage of everything that you can. That leader, of course, making a bit of an excursion off track there, slowing him down a little bit. Should make for some interesting racing as we're closing in, as you mentioned, towards the end of this race. We're down to about our last 45 minutes or so. Should make these drivers really consider what they're going to do to try to get around each other, race around each other as we start closing in towards the end here.
Absolutely, and another reason this is going to be so important is because now, if you're Michael Hafladsen, yeah, you've got the championship as long as nothing goes poorly for you, but if you can get in there and win this last race and really solidify, like, yeah, Jesper, I know you've came into this league and you've won all the races you've been in, but I tell you, you're not going to win this one. I'm the champion for a reason. That's going to mean a lot to Eriksson to have to not share victory lane with the race winner, so he can be the race winner and the champion coming into it. But I bet he's going to be sucking up to the back of Eriksson here. I don't think he's going to make many moves. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy, but probably definitely going to get up there and stick and see as close as he can get and not let him get out of his sights again.
Plenty of time to study him, and of course plenty of time to make that move, so we'll just have to see how it plays out.
Exactly. Now seeing with what we saw, go ahead and run the gap there up again. What we saw as far as pit strategy, about 30 minutes is what these guys are looking at coming in. So again, he could still underpit here, and now that if he stays behind him, he knows exactly when he's going to come in, so the underpit can really be effective. And you know that Jesper's not going to get unless he pops down pit road pretty dangerously, he's not going to be able to try and mitigate that unless, you know, he hears him over the radio or something, or talking to his team.
Strategy, strategy, strategy. You know, taking advantage of everything you can, of course, with the iRacing service. Unless you're in a locked team chat or anything, and if you're caught talking over an open drivers channel, everybody's going to know what you're looking at, what you're thinking. So definitely some opportunity there for these drivers to make a pit call, possibly in the wrong spot, and show a little bit of their hand, maybe a little early.
Absolutely. As the gap widening between Ericsson and Vladison, a little bit of a battle halfway through here. Linus Brostrom working Sebastian Magnussen in the rearview mirror. Linus hasn't had that good of a run. He did come in at lap 51 pretty recently, so he's kind of doing the same thing he's been doing. Coming in and then going back out before everybody, trying to use that to his advantage to be able to gain some laps. Hagman doing the same. Has not had a good run since we saw him since that incident. Unfortunately, just unable to rebound from that. And right now, just fighting back, doing that under pit strategy, gaining as much as possible. Looks like everybody else, for the most part, is kind of just happy to sit back and maybe see if they can stretch this thing out as long as possible to see if they can only do one stop. Save a minute and 20 seconds there. It's about 10 laps, so I don't know if that's on the fall off. It's going to take you only about 10 laps to get that back, so I don't know if that's going to be the strategy, but just talking through it. But folks, appreciate the heck out of you guys for being here and showing up to the Svenska eRacingligan Daytona 2.4 by Clutch Club Racing. As always, you can catch us on simracingmedia.com, our YouTube, our Facebook. Just search Sim Racing Media wherever you're watching anything. We've got racing all around the calendar, Monday through Sunday. We have racing for you, so be sure and come check us out. So find out what you like, join the league, get into iRacing, a simulation that these guys are racing on. Whole different ball game when you can race the same people week to week. I tell you what, David, how do you feel? What did you do before iRacing? As far as racing and video games.
Before iRacing, I was a big fan of hopping on to Xbox, racing the NASCAR Heat games. You know, NASCAR Heat 2, 3, 4. But as you mentioned, there's just something about iRacing and being able to hop on and consistently race with the same people, really getting to know those drivers that you're working around makes such a huge difference. And it's so fun to be able to meet new people, meet new friends when you hop into leagues like this, where you're seeing these guys consistently week to week, being able to make those friends. And of course, the biggest experience for me as a newer driver to the iRacing service, only been on for a couple of years now, just being able to learn from these guys that have been around and that have done it. So much knowledge, so much camaraderie and friendship can come from being in a league such as this, and learning the tracks, learning the cars. Such a great way to share an experience with a fellow racer.
Absolutely. And I tell you what, I was racing on just the single player, but the same. I raced all the heats until they started being the same year after year. I think I then kind of gave them up just a tad, but got back into Forza. Been racing some Forza on the console, and I saw some folks racing this stuff online. There goes Hal Vladison. Vladison coming down pit road. This is big. He's going to underpit the leader, Jesper Eriksson here. That's going to cost him. Hopefully Jesper comes down next time around, but if not, Vladison might have the lead. But yeah, racing some Forza, some online, some other stuff was a blast. And now to see this and see all these drivers be able to get on the same server week after week, it just blew my mind. And I thought, you know what, I got to get a computer. I got to get the wheel and pedal system, and I got to get in here and try this stuff. And I tell you what, it's never been more affordable than it is right now. If you're interested in getting into it, it is definitely not cheap, but it is definitely, it's affordable. You can get in here and have a good time for pennies on the dollar if you compare it to going out and buying a race car, for sure. As these guys working right now on pits, Daniel Blomqvist has came in. Let's take a look and see if Jesper Ericsson's going to elect to come down pit road here. The funny part of that, David, is I used to think that Forza was simulation racing. Marcus Hadman has another issue. Not having the race he wanted today. See if Jesper, yep, Jesper's just gonna sail through. No pit this time around. Definitely gonna try and turn this into a one-stop race. Gonna be interesting to see if he can do it.
Taking some strategy and saying, you know what, I see you. I see that you have pitted. I have something in the back of my mind that I'm fairly certain is gonna work, and just sticking to his guns. One-stop race is what I can turn this into here, and looks like he is certainly going to try to push this run out as long as he can, and then very likely try to make this last run just as long.
Absolutely. I mean, the track's cooling off. It's easier on the tires. It's gonna be interesting to see how quick. But now on the other hand of that, right? Vladesen is going to be coming out, and he's going to be flying as fast as he can put laps down. He's going to be putting those laps down, and that's where we're going to see what his lap time is right now. 2:29, so he still has that out lap that he's being scored against, but he's going to be flying. He's going to be flying around this track. You're going to see that gap on the left-hand side of your screen getting shorter and shorter as Ericsson he really has nothing to lose too. I mean, Ericsson is not competing for the championship. He's just trying to come out here and get wins. He's going to try and go 3 for 3. 3 starts, 3 wins if he can pull it off here and really solidify himself as somebody to keep an eye on next season. Have Vladesen about to put down another lap. Headlights on in these machines. So now a little bit of a go in the cockpit here and see what he's seeing as far as those headlights are concerned. He's getting everything out of that track. Going as fast as possible here to try and catch up and make the underpit worth it. As he didn't even go a lap down, David.
Using those curves, using every space that you can find available, putting the loud pedal down as far as it'll go, just trying everything you can to try to start running some faster laps and start reeling Jesper back in, making sure that the strategy pays off. Looks like he ran about a 1:36 almost flat there, so definitely laying some pretty good quick times, but don't know if it's quite enough to close that gap down like he's looking to do come the end of this thing.
Absolutely, and at that time, he's only going to get faster. I mean, those tires take a little bit. The tires and everything take a little bit longer to warm up in these cars, a little bit bigger and wider tires. So I'm thinking that we're going to see a lot faster run this time around, maybe in the 135s that he scored earlier in his fastest lap, because he is absolutely out there pounding away. And if he can just stay a second ahead of Ericsson for, you know, a little bit. But another little thing he's going to have to think about is he's going to have to do it again. He's going to have to come down pit road one more time more than Ericsson here, and that's what could be the killer for Vladesen, as also Holmer and Olsen have elected to stay out. So something that was right under our noses that we didn't even think about, this could have been a championship decision. Look here, Homer and Olsen, or at least Homer, is I think exactly 25 points back right now. And because of the way this works, let me take a look, do some quick calculation on the points here. Yeah, first place is worth 150, third place, or I'm sorry, second place is where Homer would be, 135, fourth place is 118. So that'll be really close. It's going to be very close to see where everyone's going to finish and how they can run here. I want to see the current, where everyone will finish.
Drivers trying to take every advantage they can get, especially with the point system, knowing that, hey, I could pick up a couple more points if I try to stretch this out. So good eye seeing the opportunity there. We'll see if it pays off for him.
Absolutely. As Homer and Olsen have both elected, Bright Esports drivers, they've elected to come down pit road. See what's going to change with them. And how far ahead is Hafladison going to be here, as they're still completing their service. Not moving yet. Still in the pit road, still taking that time. Takes about 36 seconds for these cars to run through their entire pit service. Take a look at the length that these guys are going. About 24 laps, 23 laps. Hafladison there. Ericsson electing to come down pit road. And Ericsson had a big gap, but I think Hafladison is going to come around with about a 15-second lead after this, and that's going to be very crucial for these drivers to still have a fight, have a dog in this fight.
Drivers, of course, now making decisions that are going to stick with them for the rest of the race, essentially. And Ericsson trying to make the most of that pit stop. Had quite a bit of a gap, maybe saw it shrinking a little bit, wanted to get in and see what he could do to try to maintain the lead here as Hafladison comes around. I'm not 100% sure where Ericsson is in that pit stop, but it is going to be close.
It is absolutely going to be close. Here comes Hafladison as Ericsson is coming off of pit road. Hafladison's going to have the advantage because he can go a little bit faster through here, and there he goes. Ericsson comes out only 1 second behind Hafladison, and it's going to shrink very quickly. Hafladison's got to get out as far as he can without these tires getting warmed up on Ericsson, because he's not going to be at that prime speed until quite a bit farther back here. But if he can have the draft, that might kind of cut into that, give him a little bit of an edge here.
Certainly using that draft to stay in touch, especially on this high-speed section, will help later as those tires are a little bit warmer. Ericsson might be able to take advantage even now, looking into the chicane as they're coming down the backstretch here. Might be able to just get that braking zone a little bit deeper on those newer tires, get those tires warmed up, maintain that draft, and set up a pass as they come to the infield.
Absolutely, get by him. And if you're Michael, if you're Hafladison, I don't know how bad I want to defend this. honestly. I know you want the win, and you want it bad, but one real mistake, and if you let Ericsson, you know, draft up to that bumper and then come into turn one, and you go around, this could be the championship. So if you're a Vladison, and again, if you're Ericsson as well, I mean, he's also, he knows he's not competing. It's not like nobody told him to go out there and fight this guy. Maybe a little bit of sportsmanship, gonna stay back. There he goes, he's gonna give it to him. He doesn't want it. Does not want those problems. Michael Vladison just gonna let the newer tires go. I like that strategy. I like that call.
100%. And as you mentioned, racing for a championship, you know that you've got the position you need still in second place to get those points, maintain your position points-wise for that championship. Absolutely nothing wrong with letting them go there and seeing those tires are going to be faster and get around you anyway. Why burn up what you have knowing that you have a strategy going forward?
Absolutely. And another thing, I mean, if we take a look at the off tracks here, Ericsson's found something on this course that is quick. He's found a place around this course that is quicker than everybody else. He has the best times. He's obviously out there pretty consistently. So if you're half Vladison, get behind him, see where he's going. You know, take the advantage to learn from the leader here, and go about your business. Now let's take a look at that pass again. Pass for the lead. Just as cut and dry as a pass could be there. Half Vladison letting him go. And again, talked about the strategy. That's where these road course races are a lot different. You got to think about it a lot more, because you got to think long term, and that's what we're seeing here.
As you mentioned, a great opportunity to take some notes. You're right behind the fastest driver on the course, right? Get behind him, see where he's going, see what he's doing, try to figure it out. You can still have an opportunity come the end of this thing.
Absolutely. As we're going to run through your top 10, and pretty much we'll run through everybody. Why not? We got time. Jesper Ericsson's running in first. That Force Esports Academy 37 machine, running very well from Sweden. Michael Vladison trying to keep him in front of him, keep him in the front windshield, so to speak. He's in second. 1 and 2 is where they started. Alexander Olsen, he's up 2 positions from where he started to be in third place. He's got his teammate Daniel Holmer right behind him, and Linus Brostrom back there as well. There's a lap car between them. Daniel Blomqvist is in 6th position. He's down 3 from where he started in 3rd, and then Philip Axelson started in 4th. He's down 3 to 7th. And that Clutch Club Racing sponsor for the race. Glad he could be having a good race here, top 10. Sebastian Magnussen, he's in 8th, 9 positions up after a poor qualifying effort, but that just shows you just how hard it is to come back from those issues. Clutch Club Racing yellow team there. Christopher Dahlstrom, Clutch Club yellow as well. He's in 9th position, battling with the 80, or with a lap car, I'm sorry. I believe that's a Vladison. Luke Holmgren's in 10th. Started there, finishes, looking to finish there as well. Hammerstrom in 11th. Started in 11th. Good run by him. Hawkenschott in 12th. He's up 2 positions. Marcus Stiller, kind of a dark horse. He's came in and done really well in the standings. Picked up a lot of spots. Marcus Hagman, he's just not been having a good race at all. After his issue with Blomqvist, he got pushed into the wall and having a hard time recovering. The first person really to try that short pit strategy and show that it could work. Jonas Schauberg down 6 positions as well in the 757 machine from Aspire Racing. and Hafladi Johannesson, AM Racing by AMRT, those racing seats. And then Bjorn Brostrom out here, not really his cup of tea to be racing in the road, but he comes out here anyways, does really well, up one position so far there in the back. Pontus Nordgren down pit road. Kenneth Tier and Philip Bjork have both called it. They have went home, put that car on the trailer, and have decided to try again later on. As we got some 4x4 racing action here out of nowhere. Linus Brostrom, Daniel Homer, and I believe a lap car in there. That's Hawkins Schott. Gonna be playing blocker here. A little bit of action. Linus Brostrom, Daniel Homer. These guys have been around each other all day once their pit strategies have kind of leveled out.
As we mentioned, using those strategies, using those notes, and of course, reaching into that bag of notes they grabbed earlier from racing around each other. Gonna see them try to go toe-to-toe here and see if they can line up and get by each other at an optimum time of the track, or whatever they determine is the optimum time of the track, where they think they're going to be a little bit faster to try to run away.
Absolutely. Who is that? That's behind him there. Homer, and then we have Marcus Stiller. Who's behind Marcus Stiller? Hawkins Schott. So that's Hawkins Schott is actually battling for position with Marcus Stiller. So okay, no lap car, no blocking there. Those guys were driving for position. Stiller able to pass for 12. Linus trying to step it away.
Seeing the opportunity, seeing cars bunch up in front of you, why not? You know, go up there and see what you can do, especially when you're battling for positions. Might as well take advantage of everything this track is throwing at you. Seeing those cars in front of you is only going to slow each other down. So get up there, get in the battle, and see what you can come away with.
Absolutely. As Daniel Bloomquist is tired of being underpit by Linus Brostrom, it seems like they're going to come down pit road at the same time this time around. He's going to say, you know what, you want to race, you want to battle, I'm not going to get beat on strategy, let's go. Going to see how much he can do here. As Linus into the stall first. What's it going to take as they pop off here? Is somebody going to take 2 tires? Yes, he is. Daniel Bloomquist, 2 tire stop. That's going to give him like 30 seconds, maybe only fueled even on Daniel's machine. So pit strategy again coming into play. Linus has just rolled out of his pit stop with tires. Right sides only, or I'm not sure what sides. I don't know why you would take rights over lefts. Here, David, can you shed any light on that?
Depending on how the driver feels with some comfort and some variability. There is what seems to be a lot more left at this track, if that makes any sense, than there is right-hand turns. So potentially a little bit different wear on the tires might make you feel comfortable with that call. But I think what it might have come down to, in all honesty, is, as you mentioned, the fuel. I think these drivers are really just trying to find that optimum number of how much fuel can I put in this car to just make it to the end and get where I need to go.
Yeah, absolutely. No reason to stay down any longer than you have to. As the gap in between first and second, you can see in the left-hand side of your screen there, Vladison about 3 seconds back, but he's keeping Olsen and Hammer behind him, which is what he has to do. He has to finish right here where he is to keep the championship and hopefully keep everybody out of the way to catch him. And it looks like that's going to be it. He's 27 seconds ahead of Olsen. If Olsen decides not to come down pit road again, that might split. But then again, Bloomquist came down pit road and got fuel only, and it was a 50-second stop. So he saved about 20 seconds there. So that's something that if Vladison's keeping in the back pocket, he can say, okay, I want to take tires, I don't want to take tires. Where is that going to take him as we see Homer now? And that's pretty much what they're thinking. Olsen, Homer, and Vladison got to think about what they want to do here. So we're going to run to our last ad break of the night. Stick around, we will as well.
Behöver du en bil? Mabe hyrbilar finns på över 150 platser i landet och vi har nästan lika många modeller att välja på. Mabe hyrbilar. Hyrbilar som passar dig.
Back here for the final 20 minutes of the Svenska eRacingligan championship race here, the Daytona 2.4. And as we were talking about a little bit while we were off screen in the booth, now we're looking at headlights, seeing a little bit of finish in the nighttime here.
Drivers taking advantage of these cars having lights. Of course, you don't get to see that too often with what we're used to calling with the oval leagues and the stock cars relying on track lighting. But being able to see these drivers turn the lights on and kind of bring a new perspective to things really kind of opens your eyes to, yeah, these cars have headlights, but doesn't really seem like they light things up as much as you would think.
Yeah, right now we're in that dusk time frame. Let's take a look at the weather. If I can get that up. I actually don't have that button on this overlay. Yeah, there it is. All right, a little bit of weather right now. Take a look. It is 19 degrees Celsius, 22 degree track temperature. It's got plenty of time to cool down there. Yeah, and that partly cloudy that time. It's about that time where things are going to start going down as far as weather is concerned, and then the sun. But yeah, that's about where we're at. These drivers need to use those headlights. The only battle we have right now for position, of course, is Phil Bex and Linus Brostrom. The strategy for Bloomquist to come in and only take tires, or only take fuel, I'm sorry, has paid off. Now we just got to see if LaFlautison has to come down pit road. He's making no moves yet, but possibly coming up here soon, he might have to come down pit road, and that is going to be absolutely wreak havoc on the points. I'm going to have to do the math on that. As Linus takes the high side around Philip Axelson, this battle for position, he's just going to let him go. Fresh tires on that machine, easy pass.
Drivers basically settled in and for the most part accepting the fact of what you've got's probably what you're going to finish with. So it looks like no surprise there that he pulled over, let him by, and wasn't really going to fight too hard for that position right now. And maybe if he can stay close enough towards the end, we'll see something heat up there.
Absolutely. Speaking about heating up here, Flotteson and Ericsson got into a little battle when we weren't paying attention. This is the battle for the lead. I am amazed I didn't catch this. There was about a 3-second gap And then something happened with Hufladison as Ericsson falls back to second position. Hufladison, your points leader, gonna take that lead and go. Not sure what happened there. That was a pretty quick little ascension to first place.
Could have been something as simple as over braking into a corner, maybe locking them up. Something just didn't feel right. It happens, right? You know, you take advantage of whatever that driver in front of you is having issues with, and Flodison was there to capitalize.
Absolutely. Let's go dark here for a moment. I'm going to see if I can't find what was going on. As it looks like the way I'm looking, it just caught him. I don't know what the slowdown was here. Just maybe pushing a little bit.
Looking like you said, just maybe caught up to him and had the advantage and just started to take what he could.
Absolutely. As here we go. Hufladison has came down pit road. Going to go to the blimp and see where Alexander Olsen's going to come up in all of this. Hufladison has just elected to take fuel only, and Olsen's going to get by him. Olsen's going to go. Hopefully he doesn't need fuel later on. Now comes Homer in a three-way battle here with some lap traffic. Oh no! Hufladison got a little bit squirrely off of pit road. Hopefully that's not going to be a penalty. Don't think it will be. But Homer and Olsen now past Hufladison. If he finishes right here, folks, I think still he has the advantage on points, but it'll be close. Let me do some math in the background while you talk about all this.
Fighting to get back on track, as you saw. It looks like he struggled just a little bit to get off pit road there. Hufladison now at the back of this group of cars. Should be looking to take advantage of the draft in any braking zones that he can maybe push just a little bit farther than these drivers in front of him to get back up there and contend for at least another place or two. Hufladison about a second back from Homer here, looking like he is going to do everything he can to catch up and get those points back.
Yeah, it looks like because of the bonus points for the second place finish here, or the second place qualifying, Hufladison's going to have 6:07 to Homer's 5:80. So Homer's got to find 27 points. He's got to find 27 points, and if it were to finish right now, Hufladison would have, remember that, 27 points. Not enough to do it. Not enough to do it. If Hufladison finishes right now the way it is, he wins the championship. Outright by about 10 points. Because of the way this scoring is set up, Homer has to win the race, or Hufladison has to have a big issue and fall back a couple spots. I don't see that happening right now with the way he's running, as Hufladison is even caught up to Homer. And you don't know if he has the crew chief in his ear. You don't know if he knows that information or how much he has to push. Surely he goes into this thing knowing what he has to do, But at the same time, you never know with these races and with these drivers, and there could be something I'm missing, some bonus points out there that I am unaware of.
And as a driver, it's something you always keep in the back of your mind, especially during championship races, runs. You always want to know, who's that driver that's next to me in points? Who do I have to beat? And you might not know exactly what the points work out to. You just know, if I keep this driver behind me, I will be where I want to be with my point standings.
Absolutely. And that's where it is, right? You only got to beat one or two folks, especially how Vladison knew that coming into this, who he had to get by, who he had to beat. So we'll go ahead and put the scoring back up there. To apologize that was gone, but got to keep an eye on who he's got to beat and who he's got to win, get by here to keep that championship. As the racing is heating up, it's getting a little spicy here in the final 10 minutes of the race. Right now, if you're a bet man, looks like Huff Lottison has the championship.
And Haflottison certainly not pulling any punches, looking like he wants to get any time that he can to catch up as close as he can to Olsen there, hoping that he might make a mistake in front of him, even though that gap right now is around 4.5, almost 5 seconds.
Homer not ready to give it up right now. Still back in that 4th position as we close in the night race. The Ferris wheel in the background. Looks like a very fun place to watch the race here at Daytona Motor Speedway if you have an opportunity. As Homer has to see Huff Lottison and maybe trying to push him to make a mistake here with this lap car going to be getting out of the way. Because if Vladison makes a big mistake, you don't want to be the one that pushes him out of the way and forces him into a DNF. But you're also thinking about it. Homer and Olsen can finish, can have the championship if something absolutely wild happens to have Vladison here. Could be the talk of the town, so to speak, if something happens. You know, those drivers would be really upset. But it's definitely something, if it's what are those called, intrusive thought that Homer might be having as he comes up to the back of Vladison over and over and over again, trying to race him as cleanly as possible, but still maybe thinking, hey, maybe I can use a little bit of a tap and see where it goes from there.
And of course, we talked about it with Vladison. You know, the drivers that you need to be behind you. It could very well be the same thing for Homer here. Hey, I know I have to go out and finish in front of this guy, so I am going to chase him down, do everything I can to at least stay close to him. That way, if he does make a mistake, I can get that position back and have my shot at the championship.
Absolutely. And for Vladison, it has to be catastrophic. He's got to go back to at least 5th. And Daniel and Linus are 41 seconds behind him. So it's got to be something really, really going wrong on that machine to give Olsen and Homer a chance to be able to battle it out. Of course, even then, Olsen is 20 points back on Homer, so the most to gain from something like that would be Homer coming in to steal a championship, but I don't think that's how you want to do it, and I don't think that's how Daniel wants to do it. The way he's been racing all race long and all season long, very competitive series, but it's very respectful. The racecraft definitely matters here, and it matters for something for these drivers.
And that's another very good point. Nobody wants to be known as the driver that came in and, yes, you had a chance at the championship, but you wrecked the guy that you were battling with. And you got kind of like a dirty championship by wrecking that guy out. You want to get it any way that you can, of course, but you don't want to do it by wrecking the guys that you're fighting against for that championship.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're talking about it because we have to have something to talk about. I don't think Daniel's may not even be a thought in his head as we look at Bloomquist here and a lap car of Marcus Stiller, possibly 79 machine. Not sure who that is, but oh, there we go. We're back to Homer and Vladison. So five minutes left in this thing. It's about 2 or 3 laps. It looks like Olsen and Homer played their cards right. They don't have to come down pit road. Ericsson as well has decided to stay out. No fuel needed there. Saved themselves a stop. The strategy perfect. Chef's kiss perfect for Jesper Olsen, as he elected not to come down pit road when everybody else did. He got undercut, beat a couple times, and then it comes into play that it didn't really matter for him. He's going to come away with a win here. We haven't really talked about him as much because he's not in the running for the championships because he was a late entry this season, but definitely helping out the team points there for Force Esports, I believe. Let me get back to him and double check his team. Yep, Force Esports Academy, so helping out the team championship. So let's take a look at the team points. Why not? That's something that these guys have to think about. Bright Esports is winning this race. They're 1 and 2 as far as points are concerned. AM Racing Team and Force Esports, they're in 3rd or 4th with about 200 points back. So they've been helping out, but I don't think they're going to be there at it. As it seems like I'm looking at bonus points here. Vladison has got 21 points strictly off of qualifying position alone. So Vladison all season long has been qualifying well, and that's what has been putting him in the position to win these championships.
And as you were mentioning with team points, you know, Jesper out there getting that the lead and the bonus points today, of course, for the team points, but it's all about making a name, making some consistency. Sure, you might not be the champion today for this season, but you're putting your name out there. You have definitely made a mark on this series, as you mentioned, coming in and getting all those wins here with the late entry, but people are going to remember that, especially next season. This is the guy that you want to race against, you want to beat. He's obviously quick and doing something right out there, so making a name and making it known that we might not have been here this season, but next season you better watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 starts, 2 wins before this race. Now as he comes in, of course, as we take a look at Vladison working on some lap traffic, that's what it's going to come down to. He's got Homer's saying lockstep here. He's never say never. Homer is really sticking to the back of that 81 Dallara of Michael Aflatosen. And, but yeah, Ericsson just came in. He's going to go 3 for 3 as long as he doesn't run out of gas here, which I don't think he's really at any danger of doing, because he's going to come across the line, get the white flag most likely this time around. But yeah, it's going to come down to, all right, he's came out, he's solidified, he's put his stamp on it, and he says, next season, guys, you better watch out and you better bring it. Because this guy is fast. 5,200 iRating. One of the top, probably top 5% of all drivers in the service as far as road course is concerned. So he can come in and really tell you and really show these younger drivers what it's going to take here. Let's see if the white flag flies. No, I don't. The white flags. Yep, white flag is in the air. White flag is in the air. This will be the last time around for Ericsson. It'll be the last time for Homer to do anything to Aflatosen if he wants to. But yeah, how important is it, David, if you're Jesper, to come in? I know you talked on it, but just what do you feel as the driver who wins the championship, and you came in and you did what you could, but to look back and say, okay, but if this guy would have been here all along, it would have been a totally different picture.
It absolutely is going to be in the back of your mind for the next season, you know? Aflatosen looking forward and going ahead to that next season is going to have it in his mind, hey, this is the guy that I'm painting a target on his back, right? This is the guy I want to beat. This is the guy I want to follow. I want to do everything I can to learn what I need to do to start stealing these wins away, because you're potentially looking at next season's champion.
Absolutely, and that's the thing. That's the future look, right? You're looking at this guy. You can't chase him. You're about 30 seconds back, unable to even touch the rear bumper of the leader other than strategy. I mean, you're going to have to bring it next year. Of course, maybe Aflatosen drives this race a little bit differently if it matters. He might have stayed out on Ericsson's strategy, but you know, you never know. That's why we call it like we call it. He's just out here doing what he can. As here we go, Jesper Ericsson going to let the lap car go so they can get another lap in, and he's going to take the checkered flag. Jesper Ericsson wins the Daytona 2.4 by Clutch Club Racing and the championship race. But winning the championship, if my points are correct, Michael Aflatosen coming up to that checkered flag, zipping around. He's excited. He's happy to be. The team's in his ear saying, hey, good job, buddy. Bring it home. Congrats on the win. So those point standings show you guys where everyone's at. Aflatosen 602 after it all shook out. I don't know the exact points, but definitely your leader, Homer, going to come in second. Olsen in third. As around goes Aflatosen, he's going to make it to the backstretch, do a little celebrating. As I can't drag people in. Maybe that's why. There we go. Michael Aflatosen, the championship winner. Congratulations, Michael.
Oh, thank you. I am speechless, to be honest. It's been an incredibly tough season, and then Holmer and all the other guys, Alexander, they've raced hard, and today I was really scared I was going to lose it because of fuel, but managed to pull through in the end, which I'm very happy.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw that strategy, and we were talking about it up here, saying what ifs. What if Olsen and Holmer are able to do it? Did you have a crew chief in there giving you the point situation when you were back and forth, or were you just on your own there?
I was on my own. My teammate, who unfortunately crashed out early on, he said if Holmer finished P2, I just needed a P4, but I was still unsafe. So I wanted to finish ahead of Daniel to be safe, and luckily I managed to do it.
Absolutely. And as I'm looking at the points here, the only reason that P4 paid off for you, and the reason, one of the reasons that you're here right now is your qualifying. How important were those bonus points coming into this race to give you, I think, 21 or 20 so bonus points coming into it on qualifying alone?
Yeah, I mean, obviously qualifying is very important. And luckily, I like qualifying a lot, so it goes pretty much hand in hand that we get points. I mean, for me, it's a win.
Absolutely, and it helped you get to where you're doing. Michael, who you got on the car? Who you want to shout out? Helped you win third in this race and first in the championship standings today.
Well, obviously, I want to thanks to AMRT for providing me with my rig, and of course, my my dad and all my teammates for supporting me throughout the season and helping me, pushing me forward.
Absolutely. Well, Michael, man, again, congratulations on the win, and congratulations on the teammate on the celebration. Go celebrate with the teammates.
Thank you so much.
Next, David, I believe you're going to be talking with our race winner, Jesper Eriksson. Go ahead, David.
Jesper, James, and David up in the booth. You got us.
I do got you. I am here.
Awesome win out there today. Looks like you had a ton of fun, really had this course figured out. Was there any point in your mind where you were thinking that last run seemed like it was a very long run? Any point you were thinking you might not have enough to make it to the end?
I mean, I came out of the pits and my kind of pop-up dash malfunctioned, so it still says that I need to refuel 75 liters, and I was getting really confused, but then my teammates did the math, and I became very calm and just drove away at the end.
There you go. Teammates definitely helping you out, so you had some people in your ear to help you. That whole run, it just seemed like you were so much faster and were able to run away from everybody. Is there something here specifically that you've run Daytona a lot, or some secret that you have here at this track?
No, not the Daytona. I do not really like this track. It's not a track that I do like, oh yes, Daytona. It's more like, oh, it's Daytona. Let's just ride. Well, and it's not the particular track that suits me. I'm more into the technical tracks, which I think this is not. More like Sandwort or stuff like that. But yeah, it worked. This I have done some 24 hours Daytona before, so I do know this track kind of in my sleep.
All right. Well, it all seemed to work out for you. Is there anybody on the car, friends, family, somebody you want to give some shout outs to today?
Definitely the sponsor of the team. How much they help us out through all of the season and through every race that we do, and all the teammates that we have. Just awesome talking to them throughout the race and not sitting alone in the Discord chat while racing. So yeah, just the whole team and all of the sponsors, and of course you guys and the broadcast for broadcasting these kind of races is just a pleasure, to be honest.
All right. Well, thanks so much for chatting with us. Congrats on that win. Go celebrate with your team.
Thank you very much. You guys have a good night.
That was Jesper Eriksson. And then I believe we have one more we need to talk to, Mr. Olsen. That was a close points battle with you and the teammate there at the end. Second place finish, though, it's got to uplift the spirits a little bit.
Yeah, of course. It was a tough race, calculating fuel, and yeah, but I don't even know what I finished in the totals.
Third.
Third, okay,
I believe.
yeah.
Yeah. So still
yeah, I'm
top
super happy
three.
about that.
Still a podium. Bright Esports, however, I will probably break that news to you. Your team's finishing 1 and 2, so good job, Bright Esports. You got anything to talk about the team?
Amazing. Yeah, I want to thank the sponsors, Overpowered, Boxbollen, Oi Drinks, Trash Car Customs, Picked Last, and of course my teammates for helping me out there.
Absolutely. Well, Alexander, congratulations on the second place finish here, the third place finish in the championship, and leading the teams to the team manufacturer championship there.
Thanks.
So, right, folks, that's going to do it for us here. Going to go over our results one last time for this feature. So we have Jesper Eriksson finishing in first, Alexander Olsen in second, third, Michael Hafladis in fourth, Daniel Homer fifth, Daniel Bloomquist sixth, Linus Brostrom. Then we have Philip Axelson, Sebastian Magnussen, Christopher Dahlstrid, and Lucas Holmgren there in 10th. Following them, we have Marcus Stiller, Hakan Schott, Marcus Hagman, Jonas Strelberg, 2 laps down from here on out, Vladi Johannesson, 3 laps down, Bjorn Brostrom, Victor Hemmerstrom, Pontus Nordgren, and then unfortunately the vehicles that wrecked out here, Kenneth Tier and Philip Bjork. That's going to do it for us here at Sim Racing Media. As always, from myself, James, and David, talk to you next week.